negative aspect in his life at that time, and whatever, and he also just got kind of bored of it, and he quit.
For how long?
For quite a long time. I think like a year and a half or something, and then came back, and he has a super healthy relationship with, loves League, loves solo queue, getting back into it, and I've seen this many times. People come in and out because they realize, right now in my life, I just can't fit it in my life. It doesn't make sense to me right now, and then they come back, or they may not. It doesn't matter. But like, it's again, we're not here to tell anyone to play League, but if you are gonna play League. We recommend doing it a way that's, healthy in your life.
Yeah, and I just want to caveat all this by saying, like, the way that we discuss League of Legends sometimes, it might make it sound a bit overwhelming. Like we're talking about like, oh, it's like we're going to war. It's like this improvement process. It's really hard. If you reflect and you decide that you just want to kind of dick around a bit, no judgment, You can approach League with, as long as your behaviors align with your goals.
Yes,
we're happy.
Yes, exactly.
So if you actually sit there and be like, I don't really like. Maybe I work a full-time job, got a family. I only have time for a few games a day.
And I'll just autopilot every game.
As long as you accept that, then go for it.
Yep.
It's only when you have those behaviors, but you want to get master.
Yeah, that's when the behaviors don't align with the goals.
Exactly.
That's when everyone gets angry and it starts getting very confusing.
Yes.
So. Yeah, whatever outcome you get to in your reflection is fantastic. Just be honest.
Okay, so number 3 here, we have changing champ pool. Now, this is probably the one that most people go towards. When they're in a rut, the first thing is champions involved with champion. So, I think this is going to be interesting to hear your thoughts on this about the whole champion thing. Obviously, we've done a whole episode about champion pools and champions and OTP over the last couple of weeks. First things first, I'll go back to that first one saying, are you actually playing with high intensity? You might be playing, again, like 20% of what you are actually capable with your champion. You could do it, you're just in emotions. You could go, up to 80, 90%, and that could actually reinvigorate, you get better results with the champion. You could maybe start, climbing. I think that's the first thing. So, you shouldn't be thinking instantly to switch champion, which is a lot of people default to. It's a champion problem. Am I playing high intensity? The second one is get inspired with your champion. Go type in on YouTube, Challenger X Champion. Look at how they're playing fights. Just look at specifically fights. See what the champion's potentially capable of. And type in Korean Challenger or whatever it is. A big one for me was, especially looking at, like, let's say a lot of people say, you can find one trick for your champion in Challenger. There's so many champions, OTPs in Challenger. That means it's possible. Yeah. So if you're sitting there, blaming champions a champion problem, ask the question, how is that guy challenging with my champion? I think I remember I was like in a rut with my Rek'Sai, or Charles or Curtis or something were saying. I said, I literally cannot get high. I think it's impossible with this champion. I'm capped at like low GM or whatever. It's like 400 LP. And you guys were saying in Korea, there's like a guy who's 1,000 LP. It's like, okay, that sort of just opens up my mind a bit. It's like, okay, let's lock in. Let's figure this out. Maybe, sure, it's difficult. Maybe Rek'Sai's not at a good spot in that moment. But that helps me a lot. Thinking, okay, let's get really granular with... And I didn't even actually really look at his gameplay. I didn't really learn anything from his gameplay at all. It just unlocked something and forced me to go back to that high intensity and play better with, Rek'Sai. And I was capable of it. I was just using excuses and just lying to myself with my level of play and my skirmishing and fighting.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I think changing your champion pool, it's an awkward one because...
When you're in a rut.
Because it has positives and negatives. So I think, there's a short-term... I like sometimes doing a short-term break.
A vacation.
You might be like, you know what? I've been grinding the champion for the past few months. I just need to get the hell off the champion for a little bit. And I want to take a week off. And you can do that. Sometimes even just a week off of not playing that. Don't touch it. Play other champions in your pool. Take a break. That can give you perspective, right? But I do think, straight up changing your champion just because you're in a rut is something that I would only encourage for someone that has, again, complete understanding of their situation. Because if you just rush to that conclusion, I'm in a rut, I'm losing a bunch of games, I'm plateaued, let's champ swap. Well, then you're kind of instilling that habit of when shit gets tough, instead of getting into the details and trying to figure out what's going wrong.
And as you said, going back to how am I winning and losing games with this champion?
Exactly. You're not pushing. You're not entering the right mindset. The mindset needs to be, how do I push my limits with the champion? What's capable? What's the next level, right? But if you've exhausted that option, or you're just mentally just not capable
You
of...
don't even want to go down that route.
You don't even want to go down that route. That's when, maybe Champool cycling or Genuine Champool really comes into play. And that's where it ties back to that question from Eric, is like, he keeps champ swapping. And I'm like, well, you're not really addressing the root problem here.
Yeah, the frequency of the champ swaps is a big indicator. If it's like, if people ask me, should I swap champs if I'm having trouble? It's like, when did you last swap champs? It's like, how many times have you done that in the last year? How many champs have you gone through? If they say, I've been through 10 champs as well, that's probably quite concerning. But if it's like, I've swapped champions once, okay, cool. Well, played 150 games of MF now. Yeah, go ahead, man. Feel free. That's a healthy cycle. But if you're cycling every week, then that's just when it looks like the grass is greener, but it's just not.
Yeah, and then exactly right, because you're going to be faced with many, many, many challenges in your journey, and there's a very big difference between kind of being genuinely just plateaued because you're level of play, but also like you're just not having fun.
Yeah.
And we always say, like, if you're not having fun with that champion, like you're genuinely not having fun. You're literally dreading loading onto the river of that champion. You need to get the hell off that champion and move on. Right? Yeah. It's not conducive to learning.
I think it could also go in the opposite way. I always reference my 36% win rate with Varus. Like, I brute forced that thing. I have like 40 games of that, and I kept going. I shouldn't have done it. Like, I should have stopped at like the 20 game mark. It just wasn't working, but I just kept going, and that was... I don't think I was really in a rut about that, but it can also, like, for other people, that could create a rut, just slamming your head against the wall doing the same thing. Like, why is it this working? I'm just like, 4 games will fix it. Sometimes things just don't...
Sometimes you gotta pack it in.
Sometimes you just got to be a bit intuitive about it as well. I don't even really, like, want to dig super into why. It's like, there's more champs in the game. There's so many to choose from. Like, I just move the hell on,
Curtis, you wrote down here, why is champion your team?
Yeah, this is so important. Charlie, you talk about this as well. Like, the whole point of a champion, I think a lot of people forget, is to have diversity, right? You're trying to cover many bases in draft for the most part, right?
Yes.
Or maybe learn differing skills. But if you can't answer that question, why is every champion in your pool? What role does it fit? Chances are that your pool doesn't make sense.
You're spreading yourself too thin, and this is like the biggest misconception. Is what people say is they have like a champion, and then they have a backup, and then they have another backup. I hate the word backup in champion pools. Like, don't have a backup. Just pick something else that you're gonna play in games when it's good. That's it. So instead of having 3 control mages, have a skirmisher, a control mage, and then maybe something else. Like, if you're 80 carry, don't have 3 hyper carries. There's no point. There's no strategic diversity there. So not only are you missing opportunities to complement your team in draft, especially with like what your champions the enemy team pick and what you pick, but also you're limiting yourself in terms of what skills you can go over the long run and really crit as well.
But also, when they say that backup, if that's your response, you say, is that reasonable? Because is it reasonable that your champion's going to get picked or banned? Yeah. And if it is, how many games are you going to be playing this backup champion?
Yeah.
And is it reasonable for you to be able to perform on that champion?
Yes.
Given your slow sample size of game. So I think this is where common sense comes into play. But we don't even need to get in the weeds here. Just ask that question. Why is each champion in your pool?
Okay, we happy with champion pool?
Yep.
Now let's move on to number 4. This is where stage 4 issues, out of game things, mindset, focus on LP, focus on externals. We sort of talked a little bit about focusing on externals and like friendship groups. Talk about taking breaks. And a big one here that we've written down is, am I just living in the past? People's previous ranks, people anchor to that a lot in League.
You know what the El Clasico is? Hi, I'm Bob, and I peaked in...
in season 7.
I peaked at this.
Yeah.
That's the El Clasico. Oh, God. What's problematic with this? What's problematic with I am this, and I peaked at? I'm at X peak.
It's just not relevant. It's like your rank... like your match history shows the past, your current rank shows the present. So whatever rank you were in the past, it has no bearing on your ability to execute today, because things change. We can't hold all that information on our head. Like I've like a few years ago, I was like a Grandmaster 4 player. I mean, I'm a Grandmaster 4 player now. Fuck no, of course not. Like it's actually misinformation, and it's robbing other people as well of that like result.
Jonathan Brown, our mentor, we've had him twice on this podcast. You can type in those episodes. He wrote a book about stress and success, and the thing that he loved about League of Legends and what brought him into our world was the fast-moving environment of League with patch changes. So League is not only moving fast as a game and changes, and the player base is getting better, you know, it's also, as you said, like you personally are changing. Nothing in nature or the world is static. Everything's moving. Everything's constantly moving. So your peak rank, even 6 months ago, even 2 weeks ago, is not going to matter in this current present moment because your belief system could have changed in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Maybe you literally suddenly think, you know, you're losing confidence with your champion or whatever. So that's why it's completely almost useless to be thinking about what your peak rank is or something in the past. Everything is moving. Nothing is static.
It also just leads to anxiety, right? And performance anxiety. Like, it's gonna make you play worse because like, oh shit, I'm not like landing my spells like I used to, or like, I'm not winning as many games as I used to. Like, oh, I went on a win streak last week and I peaked this rank, but now I'm like losing games. And like the worst thing is like I'm a diamond player, but I'm losing games in emerald. It's like it blows people's brains that that's even possible because they convince themselves that once they get to that rank, it's theirs. But you kind of have to earn it, you know? You don't want to peak a rank, you want to be a rank. You don't want to be diamond, you want to be a diamond player. There's a big difference there.
You have to constantly be earning the rank and also earning every win, earning every skirmish, earning every. You can bring it. You can pull back the layers. Like let's get granular in your gameplay decision making. You gotta earn everything. Like
it's so general as well. When they say like I'm this rank, it's like, well, how did you get that rank? Like maybe it was a certain aspect of your play that you've forgotten about. Maybe you used to really value your skirmishing, and now you're focused way too much on laning or something.
Or maybe you played just a champion that was very good in a particular meta, and you got inflated a little bit, 200, 300, 400 LP. That can happen.
Can happen, yeah.
You know, it's interesting because people watching this may think, well, what's wrong with mentioning your peak? It's more the mentality around how the peak affects your ability to stay present on your learning now, right? Because the more of the more anchored you are to the past or how good you should be, the harder it is to actually bring yourself to get into the day he doesn't humble yourself in the present.
You're right. It's the opposite of humbling yourself to your current rank. Because if you say, I peaked this rank, it's kind of like you don't believe you are the rank you are now.
You don't belong. Yeah, you don't belong where you are right now. You believe that you're better than everyone else in these games. So you're not going to really give your opponent or your teammates the respect that they deserve, which makes it near and impossible to properly, objectively review your gameplay.
Yeah, and instead of trying to improve to get to this, you're just kind of trying to claw your way back to where you were. I think that's the big difference. Is when you're practice your past rank, you're not in the improvement mindset. You're just in the I need to get back to where I was as fast as humanly possible mindset.
and you know, if we just branch out a second to what peaking in other endeavors looks like, right? If you had this PB, a personal best of like a bench press or a squat or something, well, that doesn't change. A squat is a squat, a bench is a bench, right? In League, the game is literally changing, right? The player base, your rank is relative to everyone else in the game. The game itself, well, the player base is improving massively. I mean, I guess you could say the same for like weightlifting, but also the game itself is changing, right? The game 6 months ago is different, right? The objectives were different. The map was played different. Things can massively change. Your champion can literally be reworked, you know? Like the amount Neferi got reworked. You're not even playing the same champion anymore. So like the game, it's like the world underneath you is changing and you need to kind of adapt with the times. And so be very careful. That's the lesson. Be very careful about anchoring past ranks.
Yeah, so that's a big stage 4 issue. Talking about like really practically getting out of rut in terms of taking breaks. People sometimes ask, how long should I take a break for? We've talked, like I think a small break. I think that you can refresh from League pretty quickly in my experience. Like, I think
especially if you play every day.
Yeah, if you play every day, like I think that 24 hours can be probably less. Especially if you're someone who plays like a lot.
24 hours off the PC, outside, a lot
can change. Taking breaks is literally like walking out, like stopping your 3-block or whatever, and coming, like literally doing something. Coming back has been work for me a lot as well, right? I think it's a very important skill set to know when to just stop playing the game and just go do something else. But yeah, I think like a 2 or a 3 day break is complete. If you're a really active, hardcore League rank player, I think 2-3 days is literally all you need. You don't need to like sit there like I'm gonna take a week break. A week is like an eternity.
I think at minimum you want to be taking 24 hours off a fortnight at minimum. I think even.
Do you think, regardless, if you're not in a rut or anything, that's just a good.
I think it's just a good reset. Honestly, I think just getting perspective. Like Tim, I mean, shout out to Tim Mysterious. He's a massive advocate of breaks, and it's borderline one of the first questions he asks. If someone has a problem, it's like, when's the last time you took a break? Because you get so stuck in your way, you get so stuck in your own little bubble of what's happening in your games. Like, you lose perspective very, very, very quickly.
Yeah, and it's not just taking a break of like just physically like leaving and then, all right, I took my 15 minutes or like 24 hours like Curtis, Charlie, Nathan. I came back, here we go again. Use that break that time to reflect.
Yeah.
Tim, in the boot camp, Mysterious, our coach that you're referring to, in the recent boot camp that we did, he was working with one of his students in the boot camp, and we play. There's a 3-block the first day, and then a 3-block the second day, right? And the first day didn't go well, really upset. Second day, first game in, doesn't go well again, and then Tim just said, just go outside for 10-15 minutes and just reflect. What's going on?
Yeah.
And that was like a game changer for him in the boot camp. And then he came back and said, okay, let's wake up and implement all the things that Tim's looked at for the past 4 games. And that was a huge takeaway. And it literally instantly changed the world. Just by walking outside, Tim literally said, walk outside, reflect for 10-15 minutes and come back. And his gameplay changed.
So cool. I mean, I just reminds me of just so many memories I've got of just like walking around my neighborhood, just looking around, just walking, just thinking about. I don't know why I think of Mordekaiser. Must have been during the top lane. I just think about Mordekaiser, just walking around, thinking about, fuck, it's Mordekaiser. What am I doing? Like thinking about visualizing matchups and stuff. I don't know. Sometimes when I take a break from League, I almost visualize it more. Sometimes. But I mean, we're kind of all at the point where we take breaks very naturally from the game as well. But some people, like, if especially students or younger people,
yeah, students, college people struggle a lot because like they might finish an assignment or whatever, and it's like, all right, let's play League.
Or school holidays, like people plan their sprints.
I have nothing else to do.
Yeah, but some people's lives, they're just in a situation. Maybe they don't have to work. Maybe they're living at home. They can just spam games. That's where it's so important to actually take breaks. And I love what you said, Curtis, because you can use breaks as like what am I trying to say? Like a press a button, like an emergency button, I must take a break. Or you can work breaks into your schedule so you don't have to press that emergency button.
Yep. Exactly right.
Okay, and our last point here.
Wait. Before we move on from break, because people are going to ask, how do I know when to take a break?
Well, yeah, no, it's a good question.
Kind of like,
Yeah.
That's what people are going to ask, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
I'm just asking the hard question.
I just think that there isn't really we're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to tell you, kind of give you guidelines, and you need to be honest with yourself. And I think that everyone's different. Everyone is different. Some people might need, like I said, one break at minimum a week. Some people can go probably weeks without it. It's more about being in tune with yourself. And again, the giant theme of this episode is being honest with yourself and staying in tune with how you feel. And I think, honestly, it's going to sound really weird, but League has taught me personally how to be more aware of my emotions. Like I was notoriously narrow-minded and kind of just like, I'm gonna do this no matter what. Even if I feel shit, I feel angry, I feel anxious, I feel whatever. I wasn't even aware. I mean, I think all of us when we're younger, we just don't have that awareness of how we feel a lot of the time. You develop that as you get older, but like League really brought it to the forefront. It's like, I know now very, very clearly when I can't express my best self.
And I think that's only, again, as you said, Curtis, because you've gone to so many breaking points.
Yeah.
The reason you know when to break now is because you've not known when to break so many times. I think that's
self-sabotage so many times.
I think that's honestly,
That's it.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
You have to, you're never going to have a good answer to it until you've experienced it so many times.
You gotta know what it feels like to shit the bed.
I remember I called you on the phone earlier this year. If you remember, I was talking about like, I just can't express my best self. And I really reflected on it. I found out it was like, it was doing other stuff in life, like health or like diet and stuff. And like, you can really save a lot of hurt if you're more in tune with like how you feel. And like just, that's almost like a break to save your future self. You know? It's like, because if you don't take the break, you're accumulating debt. You will pay the debt eventually, but if you can take the break earlier, you accumulate less debt.
It's interesting. There was a guy in the LA. He said recently he's had some shit going on in his real life situation, and he was surprised that he lost like 400 LP. I said, mate, if you had a traumatic IRL situation, that's nothing. That 400 LP is I thought it could be way worse than that. I mean, I've seen Nathan, you've had crazy shit going on. You've lost 1K LP.
Yeah,
in a
I
hand-
famously did. I lost the plot with my, I guess with my champ or my identity as a player. I went from Udin, I was learning Lee Sin and stuff, and I dropped 1,500 LP from, this was in Season 4, I think it was. Wow. From 1,000 LP to Diamond 3, which is, about 1,500 LP in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Is that video on YouTube?
There is a video on YouTube about me playing Lee Sin at that time.
Oh,
but this is the thing, League, you can self-sabotage very quickly, and you will self-sabotage. Everyone will self-sabotage, and it's like you said now, I think you just hit the nail on the head there. You're gonna have these massively painful experiences. You're gonna learn what your limits are. You're gonna reflect, assuming you reflect on those experiences rather than just like, all right, well that's happened, and go again.
Or unlucky.
Just riot, Rito games.
Loses queue,
Loses queue. But if you're really honest with yourself and how what happened, how you feel, and this is what we always say, League is a vessel to learn about yourself. It's a mirror. It sounds weird, but it is. League is a mirror, and it will break you. It will make you break you.
Okay, our final tip of the day for getting out of a rut here is distract yourself with the details. And everyone's like, oh, here we go. Getting into the details again. But we have a key word here, distract yourself. So we've talked a lot about, reflecting and thinking about control, but sometimes a tool that can work for me as well. Like, distract yourself from all that.
Yeah.
Distract yourself from all the shit, all the, you're thinking about why am I this rank, what's going on in my journey. Let's just
open the VOD.
Yes, open the VOD.
Let's
go.
I want to quickly talk about, I said before, my jungle journey, right? And something that I in this kind of piece of content that I'll make, like this whole idea that I'm just trying to play. I'm trying to play to win, but my goal is to figure out where in the game did it start to feel confusing. Where, like, I view it as like a train. It's like a train on a train track, and the train slowly derailing, and at some point the train falls over, and there's no coming back. I've lost the plot. I'm in La La Land. The train went to Narnia. So, I literally go through the VOD sequentially. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. The game now. I have no idea what's going on. I'm so lost.
I don't know what to do next.
This feels
cancel all up.
All the games on the map, and I'm invading and dying, and like something's gone horribly wrong here. What the hell happened? Boom. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about what happened from that point onwards. I don't care if I lost, I won, 15-minute win, 40-minute slugfest. Doesn't matter. What matters is I need to understand that situation. Why did the game feel the way it did? Where did it start going wrong? And your job, everyone's job in the review, is to identify that point. This is the end of review process. Yeah. And the great thing about this process is not, sure, you can look at it through a practical lens of, yes, it's best for learning, but mentally
helps a lot.
It mentally helps a lot because it's like all the pressure has gone off my shoulders. I'm not trying. I don't feel pressure to win the game. The only expectation, two expectations. Number one, to express my best self. Number two, to find that learning. That's
problem solve that one situation.
Yep.
One of the most common learning objectives I've given in the series, I haven't told you guys about this, but a learning objective that I give a lot of 80 carries at the moment is because there's this concept of getting to BF sword on first back, right? Especially important in lower ranks. It's just a very clear reference point I give a lot of people on champions like Jinx, MF, stuff like this. Get to BF sword first back. So the learning objective I give is actually very simple. It's almost lazy on my behalf. I just say like, go look at your game and ask yourself the question, did you get to BF sword on first back? Okay? If you didn't, I want you to go find out why. And then problem solve it. That's your learning objective.
And there'll be so much in there, right? You could look at your trades.
I give them a laundry list. Maybe you fucked a reset. Maybe you fucked a wait. Maybe you died to the jungle. But like, just go and look because that exercise of looking will make you such a good player.
Yeah, I had that as well. Similar one with an Elise player. Elise is one of the best diving junglers in the game. I looked at the game and high-level question. This is what your learn objective is. Ask your question in your review. Why are both side towers alive after 14 minutes?
Yeah, I love that. That's
really good.
Yeah.
How's that possible? We should have.
Did you miss an opportunity?
Yeah. Where was the opportunity missed to break that tower and goes for those dives? Because you will have so many dive windows that can break open a game from the 10 to 14 minutes.
So it's the 1,000 puzzles mindset. It's just viewing solo queue as this series of puzzles instead of this like race to the bottom almost when you're queuing up for a game and trying to win.
Yeah, and this is, it's really helpful to get into the details to get out of the rut because it gives you something concrete to do now. You know, like being in a rut, it almost feels like you're like in this like haze, and you're just trying to feel like where you are. And you're lost. You just have no direction. And the VOD is just like in the details. It's like it's this concrete, actionable thing. It's like show me the game. What is actually happening? And we've been notorious on this podcast about just like it's so hard sometimes to talk about the game without a VOD. Give me the game, show me the problem, ask and stop asking general questions. Let's just get specific.
This is why we have the VOD questions channel in our academies, because we literally had to implement it because there's, you know, general questions are fine, we can't answer them, but there's nothing better than like bringing up the VOD. And we always tell people, go to VOD questions, I want to see it, let's have a look. Let's look at why you can't get dragons.
And for people who don't know what VOD questions is, it's literally a 24-hour, 24/7 thing we have in all of our programs. And you can post a clip and get it answered by a coach. Right? And what happens?
It's all confusing.
It eliminates all confusion, exactly right. It's the most, probably, honestly, it sounds crazy. I think it is the most valuable
Broken by concept.
part of our entire program. It's better than coaching. It's better than all the content. It's literally
I got
insane.
confused in this moment. Please help me.
Exactly right.
And okay, so if you can't figure it out yourself, when was the last time you had someone else watch your play? And this doesn't have to be a coach. This can just be a friend. Like, you know, if you have a friend, ideally maybe similar rank, or maybe even, you know, a couple of ranks maybe below, they might be able to, even the process of you getting a buddy and just looking at it, then you actually feel inclined to them to sort of like, okay,
justify your decisions. I always bring it back to that example, Nathan, when I was in this huge rut, and I said, like, what is going on?
I'm not even a mid lane.
Nathan was in mid lane, and he just looked at it, he's like, oh, what about your, like, what did you say? You said, what about your reset, your death here or something? Something really, really basic.
Why are you dying?
Yeah, like, I should have, like, been able to spot it, but because he's there, and he's, like, objective, and it's just, like, there's someone with you, it just helps. It just helps. So, yeah, I think it's a really practical advice.
Because also, something that's really common, I don't think we've touched on this yet, is people find it cringe to look at the gameplay.
Yeah.
This is really easy when you get into a rut, and it can get very dangerous. Like,
Okay, we just interrupted the podcast really quick. We had to fix the sun, which be blinding us.
Nathan, fix the sun.
Yes, I had to fix the sun. All right, Charlie, you're talking about when other people watching you play.
Oh yeah, people find it cringe to look at your gameplay. So like, I've had a lot of people who they come to the daily chat or review session. I say, have you been reviewing your games? They say, I just find it cringe. I don't want to look. It looks. I'm disgusted by my own level of play. You know, I'd rather hide away from it. It's like, well, that's a great first step. Just kind of peek behind the bed. What's going on? Maybe there's obvious things like. Another little sidebar, there was one of our mentors tried recently this, but like, I opened the VOD to review it, like, this team fight, I was so confused as to why we lost the fight, and then I just noticed that I was throwing all my abilities into space, just missing every skill. It's like, if you don't look, you'll never find that out.
And you can come up with weird narratives during and even after the game. You just like put the horse blinkers on, and you just thought in that moment something happened, and it was just not the reality.
But you know why? Again, the root cause is because people think they're better than they are. You gotta humble yourself. The quicker you humble yourself and just accept the reality of your situation, the quicker you can make a change, right? There's that quote. It's like, would you prefer to live in the comfortable delusion? It's like a comfortable delusion or an uncomfortable like reality or something like that. And that's the question. And the reality is that in order to change and make progress, you got to humble yourself. And I think we've all been there where you really don't want to look at your play, right? Everyone's been there. But I think this is probably a conversation for another time. But there's this whole like. Kind of meta in the League of Legends community of showing highlights and compilations and montages of like all these things that work out well. People post their best VOD.
The Instagram thing, they like people like to create their I'm on a yacht here, I'm traveling here, you know, and they're not seeing, you know, like the 5 days of wake up, it's like just like shouting and stuff like that.
Because if you look at any, and like this is legit, if you go to any high level player, challenge player, instead of going on their YouTube, watch their Twitch vlogs. You'll see some ugly shit. You'll see, you know, even watch Faker, Chovy, some of the best players, they will do some ugly shit, some very questionable shit. I was doing a Zoe guide, the big game Zoe guide with Tim, and we were doing a Chovy guide. Chovy was overstaying, getting caught off guard.
That's ugly. The way that's what Tim would say about that.
This is obliterating his accent. Sorry, Tim, from having to put up with that. Yeah, and so people say Chovy's the best mid laner in the world. And you look at that, it's like, how's that make sense? That's his different
puzzles, different games.
Yes.
Can't be consistent. It's too hard. So yeah, open the mod, have a look. It will hurt. The more you open it, the easier it will be. And I think I said this like a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. Like, I would rather lose to know why than win and not know.
Beautiful. Okay, that's our 5 ways to get out of a